Hey there, folks, and welcome back to the Gamer's Grotto. Tonight we're going to be playing Truth, the FMV game show starring Garrett Wang, best known as Harry Kim in Star Trek Voyager, playing the host of a game show where we are kind of in complete control of it. So this came out I'd say about a month ago. It's made by the creators of Vegas Tales, which is another FMV game I have streamed in the past, which ironically starred another Star Trek Voyager castmate. But anyway, we're going to hop right into this right now. Let's play Truth on the PS5.
Welcome to Truth, the game show where we award a $1 million prize to the contestant chosen by our audience. We have 6 challengers hooked up to lie detectors, which I'll be monitoring. In every round, we ask each of them 5 questions chosen by our audience. Then we vote one off based on their answers. Let's meet our contestants. Why don't you each tell me a little about yourself?
I'm Joe, I'm 28, and I'm from Philly. Let's go Eagles.
My name is Alexis, and I'm born and raised in Beverly Hills.
My name is Sam. Hello. And I recently moved out here to Hollywood to get in the film industry. And I've been writing a long time before I even got to town. And I've got a lot of scripts. I'm willing to show them. Hit me up. And I'm very excited to be on the show.
I'm Autumn. I'm a California native, and I grew up right here in Los Angeles.
Hi, I'm Claire. I've never been on TV before. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
I go by Lilith, and I'm from Van Nuys, California.
Let's see what the audience wants to ask first. What would you do with the money?
Well, my ex-wife would probably get most of it. She's supposed to get half my income, but the judge hates me, so she always gets the bigger half. But if I got money, I'd pay off my credit cards, finish paying off my bike, and finally have some money in the bank for once. That'd be nice.
What would you do with the money?
Oh, I have a financial advisor that handles my money for me. My parents use them. They're really good.
You didn't really answer the question. You just said you have a financial advisor. That's not what the question was.
What would you do with the money?
Well, I've been working on a film for several years. It's kind of like my main baby when it comes to screenwriting, but I haven't had the capital to produce it. It's a superhero film, but get this. In most superhero movies, someone gets powers. They either become the good guy or the bad guy. What if they just still remain a guy and they don't use the powers? Maybe they're like, they try them out, but then they're like, you know what? I'm just going to stick to my regular life. And it's a superhero film that turns into just a slice of life normal guy film because he doesn't use them. And then at the end, when you think he's like, oh, he's about to save the day, the powers get reversed and he loses them.
Hey, man.
Hey, Joshua, how you doing, buddy? We're just playing the FMV game Truth. It's like a game show game where these contestants are hooked up to a lie detector. They have to tell the truth no matter what. And then I'm going to have, hopefully, the audience decide who we choose to win $1 million in the game show. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. Garrett Wang from Star Trek Voyager is the host of the game show. It's a lot of fun. It's a really cool FMV game. It's made by the guys who created Las Vegas, which was also with another Star Trek Voyager actor. Yeah, so we're gonna continue on with this. Let's see what she will do with the money.
What would you do with the money?
Pharmaceutical companies test drugs on puppies and other small animals all the time, then just abandon them when they're done. Someone needs to do something about it. If I win, I plan on using the money to open a rehab center so I can help those poor puppies recover and live normal lives.
What would you do with the money?
I would hire a private investigator to help me find my daughter Mallory. We got separated on a fishing trip quite a few years ago now, and I spent all my time and my resources finding her, going from city to city, but she's always moved on. So, yeah, a private investigator could be life-changing for me.
What would you do with the money?
I'd start my own cult, dedicated to summoning Cthulhu and bringing about the end of days.
What? Wait a minute. What? No, you're not getting the money, ma'am. What? Out of all of the people? No. Okay. What the hell? What's your most embarrassing memory?
What is your most embarrassing memory?
Man, I once tried dating 2 girls in the same night, and that did not go well. I was out with this one girl, and we were having a great time, and then I drove her home. I went inside. We fooled around a little bit. That was fun. And I said goodbye, went to this bar, and I met this other chick, and she was digging me, and I was digging her, and yeah, we left. I took her home. And it's the same home, like, they're roommates, dude. So I'm like, okay, Joe, don't push your luck, let's go home. But no, man, I don't know. I thought, like, maybe the first girl would be sleeping, or, like, best case, who knows, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I went inside, and sure enough, the first girl sitting there, like, watching TV, these girls laid it on me. They got up, they yelled at me. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're beautiful, both of you. Yeah, that sucked. That was, not my finest hour. Yikes.
What is your most embarrassing memory?
I was at a party once, and Lady Gaga
Start
showed
a
up
cult
in
and
the
make your own money, you weirdo.
How am I supposed to compete with Gaga? That was so humiliating.
Yeah. Start my own cult. There we go.
What is your most embarrassing memory?
Oh, yeah. I got an embarrassing memory.
You always know it's going to be good when they're like, oh, yeah.
Okay, so I was maybe like 4 or 5 years old, and we were at a neighbor's house, the Harrises. They were the only house on the block that had a pool. So we'd go over there for summer afternoons, pool parties. So I was in the pool this one time with my dad, and I told him I had to pee. And he told me, just go in the pool. That's what everyone does. So, again, I was really young. This was like probably right before kindergarten. And I peed in the pool, and it was fine. So that became a normal thing. I would go, if I was in the pool, I would pee in the pool. Well, one summer, again, I was very young, maybe kindergarten. There was a big pool party. It was a birthday. Everyone was there from my class, the neighbors, and I had to go. I wasn't in the pool. I was standing right outside the pool, and I figured, oh, if I have to go, just go in the pool. And I stood there and peed into the pool. I quickly learned that that was wrong. Everyone was horrified. They cleared out the pool. Party was almost over. It was like I ruined the birthday. And that stigma stuck with me, let's see, if that was kindergarten, almost until high school. Yeah, I was the pool peer. Not my proudest moment.
Yeah, I can't imagine that being anybody's proudest moment. All right, moving on. We're gonna ask the same people, or the different contestants, the same question, because that'll make it a lot easier to we just go in a specific order, and then we slowly count down the ones we want to eliminate from the game show until we're left with one contestant who will win the $1 million.
What is your most embarrassing memory?
I came across a small group of people protesting outside a chemical plant, and I got excited and I called all of my friends, and we all joined in to show our support. Chemical plants are always terrible for the environment, so we were more than happy to be a part of the protest. But as it turned out, it wasn't a protest at all. It was a picket line. The plant was temporarily shut down while all the workers were on strike, and all of us extra people showing up helped convince management to give in to their demands and end the strike. We were trying to get the place shut down, but instead we got them to reopen it earlier than they otherwise would have. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was useful. Obviously, that didn't work in your favor, did it? All right, what's your most embarrassing memory?
What is your most embarrassing memory?
Oh, gosh, there's been quite a few things in my life that are embarrassing, but you know, those people on trains that go around checking everyone's tickets that they've got the right tickets? Well, it was my high school reunion, and I pretended that I was one of those people, that was my job, so that everyone would think I was really successful. But then it turned out in the group there was somebody who was a real ticket checker, and they told everyone that I wasn't. They didn't, I didn't have that job. They knew I didn't, they never saw me at work. It was so embarrassing. They really dropped me in it.
What is your most embarrassing memory?
When I was 6 years old, my parents forced me to attend the birthday party of the girl who lived next door. They fed me copious amounts of candies, cakes, ice cream. I got caught up in such a sugar rush, I actually participated in their games. The worst part was, afterwards, many of these peasants actually thought we were friends.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. What's your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
What is
Again,
your
we'll
most
go straight down the list
or
with all the contestants.
opinion?
I think more people should ride motorcycles. Motorcycles are sweet, dude. People like their hybrid cars, they only get 50 miles per gallon. Motorcycles get that kind of mileage, and they're cool, and no traffic, and they cost like a fraction of the price of a car. $5,000 for a bike, and that's a good one, dude. Yeah, bikes are sweet. Easy to find parking, too. Wherever, whenever.
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
Okay. There's this James Bond movie called The World Is Not Enough, where Denise Richards plays a physicist. Everyone was making fun of it, saying that she did a terrible job and that it was sexist of them to cast her. Here's the thing. She did fine. If she was more plain looking, I guarantee nobody would have said anything. The people who are saying that it was sexist are the sexist ones. They don't believe that a woman can be hot and smart enough to be a scientist. And that's the most sexist thing you can do.
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
Okay. Well, my most controversial / unpopular opinion, a lot of people say that it's pretty bogus that Superman just puts on a pair of glasses and he becomes Clark Kent and no one knows who he is. No one can recognize him. I actually think that checks out. See, I've thought about this a lot. Now, if there's this hero and then you see someone who's kind of your normal neighbor, you wouldn't associate that. Like, your mind wouldn't go there. So, like, here's an example. Let's say you have a neighbor who looks exactly like Barack Obama, but his hair's a little different, and he wears glasses, and he's got a normal job. Let's say he works at a gas station, and you wouldn't say, my neighbor, James, who works at the gas station, has glasses, is ex-president of the United States, Barack Obama. You'd say, oh, that guy kind of looks like Barack Obama, but it's not Barack Obama. Same thing. You wouldn't say, oh, Clark, who, like, is a cub reporter for the Daily Planet, he can't be Superman. He's a bumbling goof. He slightly looks like Superman. Remember, Clark is like uncoordinated. Clark is like, you know, bad at life. Superman is the best. So, like, you would not make that leap. I think it would totally work. Unpopular opinion, and I stand by it.
I mean, he's kind of got a point there. Like, I understand what he's saying, but at the same time, I mean, I feel like the voice kind of gives it away. I mean, it's easy to just put on a pair of glasses and pretend you're someone else, but I mean, if you got a very similar voice. That's why in Batman the Animated Series, when Bruce Wayne talked, he didn't sound all gruff like he did as Batman. But anyway, yeah.
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
Owning pets is wrong and should be illegal. If your dog or cat isn't free to come and go as they please, they're not your pet, they're your prisoner.
I'm sorry, what? No, that's not... Moving on. She's an idiot.
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
Most people think you need milk to eat cereal. I completely disagree. It's so extortionate. The prices of milk nowadays. I mean, no way. I just use water and it's delicious. I love my cereal with water when I can find cereal.
Nope. Nope. No. No. Cereal and water, no. No. Never.
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
I believe that we should bring back public execution. We're already executing people in 27 states. Why not sell tickets? I know some people really hate the death penalty. But they should love this idea. Executing these prisoners in private only helps the masses not to think about it. Making it public will bring attention to it. And it gives the rest of us something to do.
Honestly, yeah. Not gonna lie, I'd go for that. She's right. Like, more public executions means that people would be like, oh, this is what happens if we break the law. Maybe we shouldn't do it. But then again, I'd be for it.
What is your biggest regret?
Marrying my high school sweetheart. My ex-wife. Ex-wife. No more. No thank you. Yeah, we were miserable. And now I pay alimony every month.
What is your biggest regret?
I once turned down a modeling job because I would have had to go to Milan for 4 weeks. I was in high school at the time, so I might have had to repeat a year. In hindsight, it was a very famous photographer, so it would have helped my modeling career. I should have gone.
What is your biggest regret?
My biggest regret. Okay. Years ago, I used to work at a video store. Back in the day and age where they actually had video stores, where you didn't have everything at your fingertips streaming. And I worked with this girl named Rebecca, and we got along so good. We were jokey, we had banter, but the thing I was oblivious to at the time was that she was flirting with me. Like, she was into me. And the crazy thing is, I had a crush on her, but I was in the dark to her feelings about me. But now, years later, I can think back. I'm like, oh yeah, she was totally flirting with me. She, like, how did I miss that? Nothing happened, and that is a major regret. I might take that one to my grave.
What is your biggest regret?
Working normal jobs and living a normal life as long as I did. I was always miserable when I was working. Even when I was off the clock, I was miserable. So I got out of the rat race a few years ago, and I've never been happier.
What's your biggest regret?
Well, that's easy. That would be the fishing trip I took my daughter Mallory on 20 years ago. Well, obviously I couldn't afford a boat. So we borrowed 2 floating pool chairs and off we went out into the ocean. It was a beautiful day. Unfortunately, I got caught in an undercurrent and I was swept off to a desert island. I saw she made it back to shore. It took me so long to get off the desert island that by the time I got home, she'd moved on, and I've not been able to find her since.
Hold up. What? How long were you on that desert island for, is my question. If by the time you got home, she had moved on, so she was 20 years when you took her fishing, so what, she was in her 30s by the by the time you got home. I don't know what to say. I really don't. First of all, why are you using floatable chairs as a fishing boat? Like, that just seems like a very bad idea in general.
What is your biggest regret?
That's easy. There are many people I've encountered in my life who I didn't kill, even though they clearly deserved it. And now it's too late. I wouldn't even know where to find them.
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
Yeah, so I was the toughest kid in my high school, right? Everybody knew that about me. There was this guy, though. He was 6'8", freakishly tall, big guy. Everyone was like, oh, he's tough. Like, oh, he could take you. I hated that. What, you're tall, so that gives you grit? Bullshit. So, plus the guy, he was in honors classes. He must have been a nerd. No way he could take me. One day, it got to me. I called him out in the hallway. I egged him on. He didn't want to fight. I said, let's go. Not only did he beat my ass, but he beat it so badly. It was just, I was bruising for days, man. Best part is, though, we became best friends, and yeah, the rest is history. I don't know, I picked a fight with a giant, got my ass beat. That was stupid. Yeah, that was stupid.
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
I once bought this outfit and I posted on Instagram, #newoutfit. What I didn't realize is that I posted in the same exact outfit that I bought a few months earlier. People thought I was lying, but I just forgot that I bought the same outfit. People still bring it up in the comments to this day.
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
Dumbest thing I ever did. How do I choose just one? Okay. I was camping outside a store waiting to buy a game console. So it was going to be released, and I wanted to get there early. I wanted to make sure that I got one. And I set up a tent. I was going to sleep outside the store. I was there for 28 hours in my tent. The night before the store opened, when they were going to sell the console, it was go time. I went to sleep in my tent, had my phone with me. I didn't have any way to charge my phone, and my alarm didn't go off in the morning because my phone ran out of juice. I woke up 3 hours after the store opened, and I did not get the console. I slept in a tent on a sidewalk, got back problems from it, for what ended up being no reason whatsoever.
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
We heard they were going to cut down a huge area of forest, so about 20 of us went out there the night before to protest. We chained ourselves to trees so they'd have to delay their logging until they could get rid of us. Only we were in the wrong place. They were logging about a half a mile away, so no one knew we were there for almost a week. By the time someone found us, we were out of food and water, and we thought we were going to die. The guy who found us went to ask the loggers for help, and they had to cut down the trees we were chained to in order to free us. All we accomplished was getting an extra 20 trees cut down and almost dying in the process.
Fantastic. best use of picketing ever, you've managed to succeed in destroying even more of the environment. Congratulations.
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
Oh, well, that was sleeping in a dumpster. I mean, it seems like a good idea, right? You know, there's a lid on them, keeps you dry when it's wet. Unfortunately, I fell asleep and the garbage truck came by, and I woke up to find myself being tumbled into the garbage truck and being compacted in beside everything else. It took me 3 days to free myself from the block I was in the landfill.
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
This rich couple used to pay me to sit for their dog. And one day he died on my watch. So I buried him in the backyard, replaced him with a look-alike from the local pet shop. The couple comes home. The new dog won't stop barking, yapping, nipping. I said he was acting normal during my watch. I got paid and I left. Anyway, he ends up biting one of them. So they put him outside, where he digs up the original, who turns out wasn't as dead as I thought. So they decided they needed to call me, text me more than dozens of times, asking me why I would bury their dog alive and try and replace him with an evil clone. I figured there was no way explaining my way out of that one, so I didn't reply.
That's the end of this round. We'll soon find out who will be going home after this message from our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by Rebecca Cartwright. Have you been injured in an automobile accident or hurt on the job? Has your case already been settled and you've been awarded a large sum of money? Call Rebecca Cartwright, 555-1258. Rebecca is 25, single, and looking for a long must love dogs.
Okay.
Now it's time for the audience to vote.
What
Please
the hell?
enter the selection of the contestant you think should be going home.
Well, first of all, let's talk about that last girl. Burying a dog alive and then replacing it with an evil clone. Great idea. Yes, that's a great plan. What the hell? All right, so I think we're going to go send home Alexis for our first round because she doesn't need to be here. She's already instilled in us multiple times that she has a filthy rich family and is a billionaire, so why would she need $1 million? Why would she even be here? She is kind of using that spot up for somebody who probably could use that money. So, Alexis, bye-bye.
The votes are in. The audience has voted to send home Alexis.
That's okay. This was fun. And isn't that the point of a game show?
Okay, let's get started with round 2. Audience, choose your first question. What is your most embarrassing guilty pleasure?
I love bad movies. You know, movies that are so bad that then they're good. Because it's just like so entertaining how bad they are. Like Sharknado. That shit sucks, but it's good, you know? Or like, what does the fox say? Oh, that's a song, but, you know, it's so bad that I like that song, you know? Stuff like that, yeah. Bad things become good things. For me.
What is your most embarrassing guilty pleasure?
Yeah, my most embarrassing guilty pleasure, I like to go back and rewatch the cartoons from my childhood. I don't do it all the time, but when I think of one and I haven't seen it in a while, I'll look it up, I'll see where it's streaming or where I can find it, and then I will watch the crap out of it from front to back and relive my childhood a little bit. Maybe take out some of my old action figures. Yeah, that is an embarrassing guilty pleasure.
I don't see how, because nostalgia is back, right? And that's why we have so many DVDs of cartoons and TV shows from our youth, is because nostalgia is back and nostalgia sells. And so I don't feel like it would be an embarrassing guilty pleasure to want to go back and relive some childhood TV shows that you grew up with on DVD. I mean, that's why they're selling, because people want to do that. So I don't agree with that. Also, I have a lot of cartoon TV shows from my childhood on DVD anyway.
What is your most embarrassing guilty pleasure?
Walking naked through the woods. I'm much more comfortable around trees and flowers than I am around people.
What is your most embarrassing guilty pleasure?
I love window shopping at those really fancy stores that only rich people shop at. Like Walmart, I go and I look and I think, oh, if I was wealthy, I could have that and that and that. It would be so glamorous if I could really afford to buy things there, but, you know, who can?
Liar. Liar. I don't know why the lie detector didn't go off. Because, let me tell you something. I worked at Walmart. Walmart doesn't have windows. There's no windows at Walmart. You can't go window shopping at Walmart because they don't have windows. But okay. Sure. We're gonna let that one fly. Even though, you know, wrongo.
What's your most embarrassing guilty pleasure?
I like to turn off movies at the sad part, right before the end, and say that's the ending. It works for every movie. For example, in action movies, where it looks like the hero is lost. In romantic comedies, where the couple breaks up and it looks like they'll never see each other again. You get a much more satisfying ending that way. You should try it.
What is the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
Oh man, dude. For years, my friend John used to sell my friend Keith weed, but it wasn't weed, it was kale. Like, he would sell him kale instead of weed. And yeah, Keith didn't know. Like, for years, I was watching Keith, like, pack bongs with kale, and that wasn't working. So then he would, like, make kale brownies, and he had no idea. And yeah, I should have told him, but it was just too funny.
Not gonna lie, I had friends who did that. I had friends who pranked people with kale, saying it was weed. Sometimes even grass. So, you know, some people I grew up with in my childhood were really stupid, and so we could literally give them bags of lawn clippings, and they would think it was weed. Yeah, fun times.
What is the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
Well, I try not to betray friends, but okay. I spoiled Avengers Infinity War for several of my friends and coworkers. So, opening night, I saw it twice. I got my tickets in advance for 2 showings right in a row, back to back. I was at the theater for like 6 hours just downloading Infinity War, and it was awesome. But I'm like, okay, Friday, maybe people haven't seen it yet. Over the weekend, I saw it 2 more times. I go into work Monday. I assume that everyone has seen it. It's a phenomenon. It's like the movie grossed like $2 billion. I don't know how much everyone saw it. I assume they all saw it opening weekend. And I started going on about the people we lost, the Avengers we lost, the snap. I really spoiled that movie for a lot of people. I had a lot of apologizing to do that day. And if you're watching, let me just say once again, I am so sorry. I promise you, I am now keeping it spoiler-free.
You damn well better. Otherwise, I'm coming to your house. Anyway. No care in the world. Alright. What's the worst way you've betrayed a friend? Probably with her. Probably a lot of ways.
What's the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
I gave a lot of my friends chlamydia. In fairness, some of them probably had it already. We're all very open about our sexuality. That's just the type of people I vibe with.
Okay.
What is the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
Well, that would be my friend Emily from high school. We were paired together for a science project, and she looked after this egg that we were given for the first week, and I was to look after it for the second week. And I did it great. The egg was perfect, and I was carrying it into school on the last day of the project to give to Emily to hand to the teacher. I got chased by a coyote, and of course I dropped the egg, and then the coyote ate the egg, and I just thought, I can't let Emily down. Like, I don't want to betray my friend and disappoint her. And I remembered, though, that I had seen a bird's nest on the way to school a few days before, so I went back. And sure enough, there's an egg in the bird's nest. It was maybe like a slightly bluer shade of grey than the egg we'd be given, but I thought, nobody's going to notice. So I took it into school, handed it to Emily. She was just about to give it to the teacher, and a red-tailed hawk flew in the window and violently attacked Emily for touching her baby's egg. And so not only did we not get an A, Emily was in intensive care for 3 weeks, and things were never the same with us again.
That story sounds so made up. What? How? No. Okay, moving on.
What is the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
I don't have friends, but I have betrayed people. When I was in high school, there was a girl in my class who told me she wanted to kill herself. And I could have helped her, but I didn't. And in hindsight, I do wish I had. I ran into her recently, and she's married to a loser, has 2 ugly children, and works part-time as a waitress. If I had helped her commit suicide back then, she wouldn't be suffering like that. I offered to kill her now, but apparently it's too late. She doesn't want to die anymore.
Okay. Why does most media assume that goths are just Satan worshippers? Like, what is this? I'm sorry. This is just ridiculous. Okay, so you're just going around killing people. I mean, whatever. You do you, Chicky Boo. God.
What is your favorite holiday?
Well, when I was growing up, it was Christmas, hands down. It's probably every kid's favorite holiday growing up. But now it's Thanksgiving, for sure. You know, day off from work, food, lots of good food, and football. My three favorite things.
What is your favorite holiday?
Yeah, my favorite holiday is definitely Pi Day. March 14th, 3/14, aka 3.14, as in pi. And I love it. It's not an official holiday yet, anyway, but every Pi Day, I go to a competition where, first off, there are many varieties of pie, blueberry, apple, we indulge. And then there's the competition part of it where they see who can name the most numbers after the decimal point from memory. And I won it once. I named 1,826 numbers from memory. But that's not the world record. And I don't know if I'll ever get close to that. The world record is 70,000 from memory. Happy Pi Day.
What is your favorite holiday?
Arbor Day. I like that there's a holiday that's for trees and not humans. I always try to spend that day hanging out in the woods, away from people.
What's your favorite holiday?
Oh, well, that's easy. It's Thanksgiving. You know, when you're homeless like I am, it's really hard to find places to sleep. But on Thanksgiving, I can sleep in front of any storefront, entrance, window, and everyone just thinks I'm queuing for the Black Friday sales, and I get left alone. It's pure bliss and just warms my heart every Thanksgiving.
And what is your favorite holiday?
I think it's a tie between Memorial Day. There's more murders in the U.S. on Memorial Day than any other day of the year. And All Hallows Eve, when the boundaries between the land of the living and the land of the dead are the thinnest.
Again with the murders. What? Okay, I'm sorry. No, that's not. She's not a goth. She's just a psychopath.
You're the conductor on a runaway trolley. There are 5 people ahead of you on the tracks who cannot get off the tracks in time. If you continue forward, you will run over and kill all 5. You cannot stop the trolley, but you can change to an alternate track where there is only one person on it. If you decide to change tracks, the 5 people on the first track will live, but the one person on the alternate track will be run over and die. Do you change tracks?
Wait, I'm a trolley conductor for a living? How did I end up doing that to make ends meet? I mean, geez, forget the people on the tracks. If I ever sank so low I'm driving a trolley, I'd probably jump in front of it just to end my miserable life. Jeez. No thanks.
You're the conductor on a runaway trolley. There are 5 people on the tracks ahead of you who cannot get off the tracks in time. If you continue forward, you will run over and kill all 5. You cannot stop the trolley, but you can change to an alternate track where there is only one person on it. If you change tracks, the 5 people on the first track will live, but the person on the alternate track will be run over and die. Do you change tracks?
This is just basic logic. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. So I would change tracks to kill 1 instead of 5.
You're the conductor on a runaway trolley. There are 5 people ahead of you on the tracks who cannot get off the tracks in time. If you continue forward, you will run over and kill all 5 of them. You cannot stop the trolley, but you can change to an alternate track where there is only 1 person on it. If you decide to change tracks, the 5 people on the first track will live, but the 1 person on the alternate track will be run over and die. Do you change tracks?
I change tracks and hit the 1 person. The only argument I can see for staying on the current track is that I might feel guilty if I actively made a decision that killed 1 person. But 1 person dying and me feeling guilty about it certainly isn't as bad as 5 people dying.
You're the conductor. On a runaway trolley, there are 5 people on the tracks ahead of you who cannot get off the tracks in time. If you continue forward, you will run over and kill all 5 of them. You cannot stop the trolley, but you can change to an alternate track which only has 1 person on it. If you decide to change tracks, all 5 people on the first track will live, but the person on the alternate track will be run over and die. Do you change tracks?
Before answering that, what you have to understand is that being run over by a trolley doesn't have to be fatal. I've survived it at least twice now, and after an extended hospital stay, I was completely fine. You just have to avoid being crushed by the wheels when you're underneath. So, in answer to your question, your morality question, of course you switch to where the 1 person is because there's just not room under there for a crowd.
Can we ask a follow-up question of why she was underneath the trolley? Was she sleeping underneath the trolley tracks? Like, what? How did... Okay, all right, moving on. Because I just want to see what this maniacal woman has to say about all this.
You're the conductor on a runaway trolley. There are 5 people on the tracks ahead of you who cannot get off the tracks in time. If you continue forward, you will run over and kill all 5. You cannot stop the trolley, but you can change to an alternate track where there is only 1 person on it. If you decide to change tracks, all 5 people on the original track will live, but the person on the alternate track will be run over and die. Do you change tracks?
So if I stay on the first track, I get to kill 5 people without the possibility of getting in any trouble whatsoever. But if I change tracks, I only get to kill 1, and there's a possibility that I go to prison. Why would I possibly change tracks? Is this a trick question? Is there a way to kill all 6? If there is, I don't see it. I'd stay on the first track and settle for 5.
What? Is there a way to kill all 6? Oh my god, okay. Oh lord, I feel like she's gonna be arrested before the game show ends.
Have you ever cheated on anyone?
Have I ever cheated? In my entire life, like cheated? Of course I have. Who hasn't? I mean, everyone cheats. I've been cheated on by girls. I've cheated on girls. I mean, that's just life, man. Everyone cheats.
Have you ever cheated on anyone?
No. And I don't think I ever would. Not even if I had the chance. Although I did cheat on a math test once in junior high. And I couldn't live with myself afterwards, so I wouldn't even cheat on a test again.
Have you ever cheated on anyone?
Yes and no. No, not really. I don't believe in monogamy. I would never have a one-on-one relationship. I do mess around with multiple partners, but they all know that we're in an open relationship, so it's not cheating. They're all allowed to have multiple partners too, and most of them do. Even saying that they're allowed to have multiple partners sounds wrong to me. I just don't understand monogamy. How can you tell another person they aren't allowed to do things that make them happy? That just seems so controlling to me. I could never do that to someone, or let someone do that to me.
Have you ever cheated on anyone?
Certainly not. I have been ever faithful to my one true love, my husband, who I've not seen since the fishing trip, but he's my one and only.
Have you cheated on anyone?
Of course I have. I don't answer to men. If I choose to hook up with a guy, he should be eternally grateful. I certainly don't have any obligations to him afterwards.
That's the end of this round. We'll soon find out who will be going home after this message from our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by onesock.com. Does it always seem like you have an odd number of socks for some reason? Onesock.com lets you buy one individual sock so you can finally even things out. That's onesock.com. Use offer code TRUTH, and they'll include a second sock absolutely free. Now it's time for the audience to vote. Please enter the selection of the contestant you think should be going home.
The ads for this game are so stupid. Onesock.com. All right, so we're gonna. I leave it up to you guys, but I don't know if how many of you guys are watching right now. But I'm gonna go with Joe. I feel like he's the best choice to be sent home. Sam is pretty chill. Autumn. Claire is annoying. I feel like half her stories are fake, and she's just making stuff up on the fly. And Lilith is Lilith. There's not much we can say about her. She's just all kinds of... Also, she looks like a floating head. Everybody's got like a body except her. She's just a floating head who you can barely see. That's kind of funny. All right, so we're gonna send home Joe.
The votes are in. The audience has voted to send home Joe.
That's fine. My ex and her loser boyfriend would probably get the money anyways because our legal system sucks. So, whatever.
Let's begin round 3. What's the most serious law you've ever broken?
I would say the most serious law I've ever broken is sneaking into a movie. So, in 2015, Star Wars The Force Awakens was coming out, and there was an advanced sneak preview screening beforehand. And it was invite only. So I figured out a way around that since I wasn't invited, but I did want to see it. I'm not going to tell you what theater it was, or what theater chain because I do not want to get a phone call from their attorneys. But the night before this advanced screening, I went to a movie at that theater, and then I stayed in the theater all night long. I hid in the bathroom, slept there, and then the next day, I was in the theater for the screening. And there were a couple of seats open. It wasn't completely full. So I got into the sneak preview. I saw The Force Awakens early. I'm not proud of it. It's probably a big felony, but I would do it again.
Oh, look at you, you goddamn criminal. Who cares? Alright. What's the most serious law you've ever broken? I imagine it's got something to do with her tying herself to trees, but we'll see. Maybe she stole something.
What is the most serious law you have ever broken?
I smoked a lot of weed in states where it wasn't legal yet. I guess I've technically sold it too, which would be a more serious crime. I was never a drug dealer, but if I bought a bunch and then some of my friends bought off of me, I guess that's technically selling drugs, even if I'm not charging them a markup. In terms of legal penalties, that would be the most serious. The penalties for drug-related charges are ridiculous in this country.
Okay, I was expecting a lot more from her, but okay. I mean, that's and depending on where you are, that's not even illegal. Because I know in Canada, where I live, you can get away with doing that. You can just, yeah, only certain amount and whatnot. But you are allowed to sell and grow marijuana in your place, provided that it's a certain amount.
What's the most serious law you've ever broken?
International piracy law. When I was lost at sea one time, I thought all was lost. But a pirate ship came by and actually rescued me. Now, you've heard bad things about pirates, and so had I, but they could not have been nicer. They gave me a job to do on ships so that I could earn my keep when I was there, and everything was going great until they got superstitious. They are superstitious, so they thought for some reason it might be bad luck that I was on board with them. So they were just about to drop me off when we got raided by a Russian Navy ship who put us all in a Russian jail for 5 years for piracy.
Not gonna lie, when she said international piracy laws, the first spot I was going to was not a pirate ship, but rather, like pirating movies or something like that. But okay, yeah, fine. So she became Jack Sparrow and ended up in jail. It's basically what. All right, cool enough. I also don't believe that story to be accurate, but you never know. Oh, Lord. What's the most serious law you've ever broken? Can we just imagine where she's going to go with this? I mean, after hearing the stories that she has already told us, I imagine it's going to be something that is going to end up getting her arrested right away. But we'll see.
What's the most serious law you have ever broken?
See, the problem with that question is that you need to be caught, tried, and convicted for you to be breaking the law. Now, say I shoot someone. Was it self-defense? Was it manslaughter? Was it murder? Until it gets in front of a jury, we just don't know. And I'm not dumb enough to get caught and have to be put in front of a jury.
Okay, so basically you murdered someone is what I'm getting from that. Fair enough. Wow. All right, moving on. What's your most unusual talent?
What's your most unusual talent?
I'd say my most unusual talent is that I can solve a Rubik's Cube in under 2 minutes. And, it's not a world record or anything, but it's pretty good. I'll break it out sometimes, maybe if I want to impress a date, and then I'll say, now you try. Actually, that has had the opposite effect, though, because they felt that I was rubbing it in their face that I was so good at it. And then I try to tell them that I wasn't trying to brag. I'm good at making things awkward, too. That's a pretty good talent of mine as well. But yeah, I'll stick with the Rubik's Cube.
What is your most unusual talent?
I know how to survive in the wilderness. I can tell what's edible. I can build a shelter and a fire. I can clean water so it's safe to drink. Just survival skills in general. I don't like being dependent on money or on society, so I learned how to get by on my own.
What is your most unusual talent?
My most unusual talent. Because, I've got quite a few talents, but... it's funny, because some people think that it's unusual that I can digest grass. Now, I couldn't always digest grass. Humans are not known for their ability to digest grass, but if you really persevere after the first, 40 to 50 upset stomachs, your body does change and it can do it and adapt. And, I don't recommend if you've got any kind of, IBS or anything, but other than that, totally works for me, saves me a fortune.
Wait, now why do I picture you just going around on people's lawns and just ripping apart their grass and eating it now? Because you already said that you're homeless, so are you just literally just wandering around people's property and chomping down on grass like a deranged lawnmower? What? I don't know with you. First you talk about how you were run over by a trolley a couple of times, you got lost on a deserted island, and now you're running around eating people's lawns. Ma'am, can we just give you the $1 million to go check yourself into a mental institution right now? Oh my God.
What is your most unusual talent?
I'm an expert at falconry. I have a small collection of extremely well-trained birds of prey. I find owls to be particularly useful.
That has got to be the most normal thing she has said so far. Everything else has been kill this, kill that, kill. She finally said something that wasn't, unless she's planning on using it for killing people. Probably that's what's going on.
Describe a typical day in your life.
Well, usually my day is going to revolve around what I'm watching and what games I'm playing. So, work aside, when I have free time, I'm going to be binging something, and just got done with The Last of Us, binged The Mandalorian, currently watching The Winchesters, and then I'm going to play video games, gaming, a lot of RPGs, and I am immersed in that world. I take gaming very seriously. Oh, and one more thing I take very seriously, snacking. I will always have some snacks on standby and some beverages, and I like playing with snack beverage combos. Yeah, that's pretty important. That's my day.
Describe a typical day in your life.
I live in my van now by choice. When I wake up, I usually drive to the gym so I can work out and get a shower. After breakfast, I usually work one of those food delivery apps for about an hour. I can't stand a normal job, but I can handle those apps in small doses. Once I'm done, I relax for the rest of the day. I go to the beach a lot. Every day feels like a day off because I don't have a regular day job or a boss to deal with. It's pretty great, to be honest.
Describe a typical day in your life.
A typical day in my life is searching for my missing daughter, Mallory. And, really it is one of the big benefits to being homeless and unemployed is that I have no ties. I have nothing holding me back and stopping me from hitchhiking out there, getting on the road, heading to the last town that I've heard that she was in. When I get to the town, usually I find out that she's just left there suddenly. So I'll search for a soup kitchen or a dumpster, get something nice to eat, and then maybe a place to shelter until I hit the road again the next morning trying to find Mallory.
Describe a typical day in your life.
I wake up. I eat breakfast. I feed my familiars. I go to work. When I get home, I like to relax and work on my bug collection.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I was expecting something like, I bury my neighbors in the backyard. It's just something like that, because so far that's all it's been. So, aside from the owl thing or whatever, the falconry. So, that's... Wasn't expecting that. Wasn't expecting her to be like, oh yeah, no, I go to work. And I have a bug collection. Bug collection's kind of mysterious. Maybe she's using it to eat people that she's buried. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, moving on.
What is your most unusual pet peeve?
My most unusual pet peeve would be when I'm watching either a superhero show or a movie or maybe something about a crime fighter. They're always using their superpowers. They are always fighting crime. Time out. Let's see a little bit of the rest of their day-to-day. Because in real life, if you're, let's say your job is you're in the FBI. You're not always in the FBI. You go home and you're with your wife and kids, or you go to the movies, or you eat a burrito. I want to see that. Batman. Okay, you're fighting crime at night, usually. What about during the day? What about when you have to go into Wayne Enterprises? Let's see a whole Batman movie that's just about Bruce Wayne in board meetings, signing checks, looking over the budget. He's a billionaire. That's a lot of responsibilities and a lot of checks to sign. That could be a whole... How about Dark Knight rises from bed and goes into work? That's what I'm interested in. It's a pet peeve that they're only superheroing around. Yes, that's part of it, but give us a three-dimensional picture. Like Michael Knight, the Knight Rider, and Kit. Kit is a talking car, and that's pretty cool. I want to see Kit, but Michael Knight has to take Kit in for an oil change sometime. Kit has to go into the shop, get the transmission fixed. That episode, Michael Knight takes the bus to solve crime.
Nobody would watch that. Okay. If you just make a show like that, an action show, and make it all about the day-to-day life of someone, that would be boring as hell. That would not get ratings. At the end of the day, TV is about getting ratings. It's not about, oh, let's make a show that is boring as hell and hope that people watch it, because then there won't be ratings, and then the show will fail and it will get cancelled. That is why they don't make shows of superheroes masturbating in a bathroom, because nobody wants to see that. This man is dumb as a post sometimes.
What's your most unusual pet peeve?
Oh, it drives me crazy when people throw away plastic bottles with the cap screwed on. I understand that people are busy and can't always do much to help the environment, but all they have to do in this case is not screw the cap back on. If they put the cap on, then there's air trapped in the bottle and it won't flatten out in the landfill. Just leave the cap off and the bottle will get crushed and it will take up way less space. It literally takes less than no effort.
What is your most unusual pet peeve?
Unusual pet peeve. Well, I tell you, there's a phrase that people overuse all the time, and it really does my head in, because people say lightning never strikes twice. Well, I can tell you it does. It struck me 4 times, so that phrase is total nonsense. It's a bum steer.
Okay. So let's recap here. She's been run over by a trolley 4 times. She eats people's grass off of their lawns. What else? She was lost on a desert island for like 10 years or something like that. And now she... I have no words. Okay, right. Let's move on now, because the only person who's doing my head in is you, lady. Your comments, oh my lord. Your responses are crazy.
What's your most unusual pet peeve?
I hate it when people whistle. Or sing. Or hum. Or smile. Or breathe.
What the hell? Why don't you just say you hate people? Why would you say all that? You hate it when people breathe, or smile, or talk, or hum, or sing, or whistle? What the fuck is that? Why don't you just say I hate people in general? That was so stupid.
What is your happiest memory?
I'm going there in my mind right now. Absolutely, my happiest memory was going to see The Phantom Menace on the big screen. Star Wars Episode 1. You see, let's rewind. I thought I would never see new Star Wars in my lifetime. So when that came to pass, and I found myself butt in seat, looking up in a theater, brand new, taking me to a galaxy far, far away, the iconic scroll, the Star Wars logo, the score, John Williams. I can honestly say I was never happier. Now, the quality overall of the prequels, that is another conversation. But for that frozen moment in time, kill me now. I'm good.
What's your happiest memory?
That's easy. First time I went to Burning Man. It wasn't that I loved Burning Man. Back then, I worked myself to death at my office job. I only averaged maybe 50 hours per week, but the stress, It stayed with me all the time, so it felt like 100. Burning Man was the very first vacation I ever took. Once I got to feel what it was like to be free from work for multiple days straight, it changed my life. I stopped working a corporate job, stopped obsessing over money, and now I'm finally happy.
What's your happiest memory?
Well, that's a no-brainer. My happiest memory is the day my beautiful daughter Mallory was born. I had her in the hospital and everything. I mean, I was already in the hospital because I'd been bitten by a raccoon. And I suppose it would have been easier if I'd had a doctor present, but I got stuck in an elevator on the way to the maternity floor. There I was, with the raccoon I brought with me to get tested for the rabies. It got loose and I had to fend that off for a while. Even so, out Mallory came and life was perfect.
So I'm just picturing this. So you're in an elevator, fending off a raccoon while giving birth. On top of all of that, you eat people's lawns, you've been hit by lightning 4 times, you've been run over by a trolley 4 times, and you've been stranded on a desert island for 10 years. Either you have the most interesting life ever, or you're a complete fucking liar. I'm gonna go with the second option. I really am. I think I have no words. I just have no words. There's no way people like this exist.
What is your happiest memory?
When I was in the 4th grade, our teacher had a seizure in front of the whole class and died. We got to go home early. It was a double win.
That's the end of this round. We'll soon find out who will be going home after this message from our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by placebos. Are you a hypochondriac? Ask your doctor if placebos are right for you. Now it's time for the audience to vote. Please enter the selection of the contestant you think should be going home.
Oh man, I really want to send home Lilith because she's a psycho, but I also want to hear what more crazy shit she's going to say. So I think we're going to go with Autumn for now. We'll send home Autumn. And then the next one we will send home is Lilith until we're left with Claire and Sam. And then from there, we'll figure out who wins the million. But until then, bye-bye, Autumn.
The votes are in. The audience has voted to send home Autumn.
It's probably for the best I didn't win. Lots of money rarely leads to happiness.
Let's start round 4. What is your proudest accomplishment?
My proudest accomplishment was getting a perfect score on my SATs in the 8th grade. So I got a 1600. It did take me 3 tries. Almost had it on the 2nd try, but took it again. And I guess you could say 3rd time's the charm.
What is your proudest accomplishment?
I was a world record holder. I was the last known person to contract smallpox for a week. Somebody else did get it after me. I don't know their name. I mean, I don't really remember the week because I did have a terrible fever and a really itchy rash, but they say everyone gets their 15 minutes of fame, and that was mine.
What's your proudest accomplishment?
I once had these neighbors who liked to hang outside on their porch all day, blaring terrible music. I thought I could take a bat to their stereo myself and end it, but they, of course, had cameras. So I took a picture of their stereo and posted it to Craigslist under the free stuff category. Got somebody else just to take the whole stereo away. As a bonus, they also took all of their patio furniture. They never hung around outside after that.
That's actually a brilliant idea. I'm not gonna lie. That's the best way to get revenge on someone. Just put their shit up for sale on Craigslist. What the hell? They're never gonna know. That's actually pretty funny.
If you found a wallet, would you return it?
Okay. So if I found the wallet, the question of whether or not I'd return it depends. Now, if it was a 1%er, a wealthy individual, and that wallet was filled with money, I might take the money and return the wallet anonymously. If it was seemingly like just a regular person, regular working stiff, then I think I'd just return the whole thing. But if it was a Gucci wallet with gold around the sides, black card, the whole nine, I might have to take a little for myself.
If you found a wallet, would you return it?
Absolutely, I would return a wallet. I mean, if I was ever lucky enough to own something as precious as a wallet, I would really hope that someone would return mine to me if I ever lost it.
If you found a wallet, would you return it?
I found a wallet once. I looked up the owner on social media. It turned out to be some racist, sexist loser who was inexplicably married. I kept the cash, and I went to return the wallet to his home when I knew he would be at work. I told his wife that he left it behind during a one-night stand.
Okay, that's another smart thing. That's, I'm not gonna lie. She's starting to have some really good answers. It's a lot more than just killing people. So that's good. She's gone a step up.
What were you like as a child?
As a child, I was always watching cartoons, after school, Saturday morning, whenever I could, and playing video games. Lots and lots of video games. And I gotta say that a lot of my friends today are people who I've met playing online video games. So I guess I haven't changed too much.
What were you like as a child?
I was a hoop trundler. You know, when you get the wooden hoop and you run it down the street with your wooden stick. Oh, I was getting so good at it. I could go really fast and really far. I had to stop because I got rickets.
What were you like as a child?
I had a big bullying problem when I was in school. I would speak to guidance counselors, the principal about it. But every time we thought it was under control, something would happen. Like one day, a group of children decided to hold a spelling bee at lunch. For fun. What was I supposed to do? Not beat any of them up.
I mean, yeah. That would be a valid option to, not kill everybody. Over a spelling bee, no less. Oh, boy.
What do you do for a living?
I'm going to ask that you reserve judgment when I tell you that I am an auditor for the IRS. Now, I know a lot of people think that we are inherently evil, that we are monsters coming to take your money. No, okay? We are not evil. We're not going around trying to harass people. We don't want to screw over the little guy. And here's the thing. If you make an honest mistake on your taxes, we will send you a notice about it and ask you to settle the difference. Or if we find that you didn't include a form, a W-2 or something, send it to us. We're good. Now, if you are some rich person who's intentionally trying to game the system for your personal gain, then that might be an issue. Those are the people that get audited. The big muckety-mucks who are who are just greedy. Then we will come after you.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I sold furniture for a while. Then I ran out of furniture. Then I sold shoes for a while. Ran into a similar problem. Now I'm unemployed.
What do you do for a living?
I have a small stand in Hollywood where I read people's fortunes from tarot cards. Now, tarot cards don't actually predict the future, but most people don't know that. Most fortune tellers will also keep their predictions vague so they can't get caught when they're lying. I don't do that. I tell all of my customers that they're going to die in a horrific car crash about 2 years out from the day they come see me. I love seeing their reactions. Plus, the really stupid ones pay for longer sessions so they can ask me a bunch of follow-up questions.
Okay. I'm not gonna say that hasn't been done before by card readers, because I'm pretty sure it has, where they just milk the system to get more money. So not too surprising that she would go that route, considering that most of them usually do.
If you were going to be stranded on an island with one person of your choosing, who would it be?
If I was going to be stranded on a desert island with one person, who would I pick? It's not an easy question. I have 7 billion choices. Okay. Yep. So, A lot of people are probably going to pick someone who's like really attractive or like a great conversationalist, very entertaining. I'm going to pick Vladimir Putin. And it's not because I'm a fan, but if I was on that island and Putin just magically appears there, that means I've taken the biggest despot in the world, the most evil person walking the earth today, and he's out of circulation. I don't think in good conscience I could pass up that choice. It's going to do so much good for so many people. And then it's me, it's him, and if he wants to annex something, he'd have to annex my supply of coconuts. That's it. The people of Ukraine are okay. No World War III. No regrets. It's Putin. Let's go.
I'm not gonna lie, that seems like a really good idea. And you can tell by that response that this game is recent, because they're bringing up the war in Ukraine. So, I mean, this is a very recent game. It's not terribly old. By that response alone, you are able to determine that, yes, this game is fairly recent.
If you were going to be stranded on an island with one person of your choosing, who would it be?
Is it okay to say myself? I'd pick myself. Because that one time that I was stranded on a deserted island before, it was just me and I got used to it. I mean, when I say deserted island, it was more like one of those floating garbage piles that gather together in the ocean that Greenpeace hate. Anyway, I'd still choose me.
If you were going to be stranded on an island with one person of your choosing, who would it be?
Jeff Tucker. He's an old boss of mine. I really hate him. If he were trapped on that island with me, I could torture him endlessly, and he'd have no chance to escape. I could be entertained for years that way.
That's the end of this round. We'll soon find out who will be going home after this message from our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by the letter K. Now it's time for the audience to vote. Please enter the selection of the contestant you think should be going home.
You know, originally I was going to say Lilith, but I really like her answers. They're starting to get a bit less murdery, aside from the last one. But I do think that she is the funniest character, aside from Sam, who is just a clone of me, pretty much. So bye-bye, Claire. I'm sorry, Claire, but your answers don't make any sense, right? And you sound like you're a liar. With all the things, like getting hit by lightning 4 times, eating people's grass, all of that is reason enough for me to send you home.
The votes are in. The audience has voted to send home Claire. Oh, I am so sorry, Claire.
Oh, that's okay. Thanks so much for having me. It's just been so exciting to be here. And I've never won anything, so I didn't expect to win today anyway, but I'm just glad I could take part.
It's now time for our final round. If you could have any job, what would it be?
If I could have any job, I'd like to be the continuity supervisor on any Star Trek TV show. There are so many mistakes that would have been so easy to fix if only someone caught them in time. I'd love to be that someone.
You'd love to be that someone? Let me tell you why there's mistakes. When you're working 17 to 22 hours a day, sometimes people mess up on continuity, all right? Relax. Just Relax.
I just want to say I'm so sorry. Because in the moment when I was thinking about my dream job, I literally forgot that you were on Star Trek. And you have boldly gone where no man has gone before. So, thank you for your service. And yeah, I am sorry for being so nitpicky.
I love that. I love that response from Garrett. That's funny as hell. I wasn't expecting them to go that route. But when I first encountered that, I thought that was hilarious. All right, let's move on to the next question. Oh God, I'm gonna say a mortician for her, but we'll see.
If you could have any job, what would it be?
Supreme ruler of Earth. You said any job. Who wouldn't want to rule Earth? If anybody says anything else, they're lying, and their lie detector should go off. Totalitarianism can be a very effective form of government with the right ruler. Look at Vlad the Impaler. Sure, he has his critics. Some have said his methods were too harsh. But look at his empire and how smoothly it was run. Hardly any crime. I could do that. I could be the next Vlad the Impaler.
What was your childhood dream?
You know, my childhood dream was always to be the first or youngest person to accomplish something. Like, I would have loved to have been the youngest person ever to graduate from MIT, or the youngest person ever to travel to space. But as you grow old, you start to lose that dream, because when you're 9 years old and you publish an article in a physics journal, that's amazing. When you're 35 years old and you do it, you're just a nerd.
What was your childhood dream?
I've always wanted to be possessed by a demon. That's still my dream. Maybe one day I can make it happen.
What? How is that a dream? I mean, given what you've said in previous responses, I guess it makes sense for you, but that is a weird-ass dream. That is probably a dream nobody else in the entire world wants to have except for you. But okay, we'll go with it. Sure, why not?
What's your biggest fear?
Okay, my biggest fear, and this might be uncommon, but I am afraid of things that can't really happen, or things that are like an optical illusion but aren't possible in real life. So, for example, M.C. Escher paintings, like a staircase that starts nowhere and leads to nowhere, and walls and architecture that are not possible in real life, or opening a door and a room is upside down, or just objects that move through space and do not abide by the laws of physics. Because I'm
Hi,
a
Grotto.
logical person.
Cool
I'm
game
trying to
with
wrap
pretty
my
cool
head
actors.
around these things,
Been
and
listening in the
because,
background for
I
the
can't
last
get a
hour while trying to
toehold
complete a
logic
pile of
into
paper.
how that setup is occurring, I lose my bearings. And that is my biggest fear.
Hey, Lewis, no worries, buddy. I hope I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you caught that part where he mentioned being a continuity assistant for Star Trek, and Garrett Wang, the host, who is also from Star Trek Voyager, lost his shit on the contestant. I thought that was really funny. But yeah, no, it's an interesting game for sure. It's a very indie game made by FMV Interactive, who is best known for the other FMV game I played a while back on my channel called Vegas Tales. So this is their second FMV game, and they'll probably have more. Anyway, moving on. Let's see what Lilith's biggest fear is. I'm assuming it's got to do with being alive or something.
What is your biggest fear?
Having to get one of those normal peasant jobs. One where there's a boss to report to and a clock to punch. I tried it when I was younger, and it still gives me nightmares. Not the fun kind.
All right, moving on here. I think my mic might have screwed up in that last. So I don't know if you heard me, Lewis, or what I said before. I don't know if my mic had screwed up there, but thank you for joining, and I hope you are enjoying the game. We're almost done here. What advice would you give your younger self?
What advice would you give to your younger self?
Yep, hilarious reference. I follow Garrett on X and occasionally catch one of his podcasts.
I would make sure to tell myself to buy stock in Microsoft, Apple, and Netflix and hold on to it until at least 2019. Don't sell it until 2019. And then I would actually tell myself to start playing chess early and often because I was late to the game and I love chess and I'm pretty good at it, but I don't think I'll ever be great at it. And you have to start young and you have to play early and often if you want to be truly exceptional at chess. And I really believe that if I did start young, I could have been one of the greats because I see everything it takes to be exceptional. Yeah, I would tell myself to start playing chess early. Join the chess club.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
Don't ever join a witch coven. It'll seem like a good idea at the time. But the people calling themselves witches these days, they aren't practicing real witchcraft. They're such a disappointment.
If you could have any superpower, what would you choose?
Any superpower? You know, I'd have to go with Mr. Mixelplix's magic. Now, it might be a deep cut for some people. He's great. He's an imp from the fifth dimension, DC Comics, and he's part of the Rogues Gallery of Superman. And if you can mess with Superman, you've got some powers. And I just like that he's wily and weird. But his one weakness is he can wind up in prison in the fifth dimension if he says his own name backwards. But come to think of it, I've never said my own name backwards. So, yeah, should be fine. Yeah, let's definitely go with Mixelplix.
If you could have any superpower, what would you choose?
Necromancy. Anyone can take a living person, turn them into a dead one. To take a dead one, turn them back into a living one, that would really be something. Just imagine, if you really hated somebody, you could kill them, bring them back, kill them again, bring them back, kill them again. And then they'd have to live with the anticipation, knowing that eventually you're going to find them. They just don't know when. They don't know how. Plus, having your own Legion of the Undead would be pretty useful.
That's the end of this round. We'll soon find out who will be going home after this message from our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by Vegas Tales, the full-motion video game from the makers of Truth. A wealthy resort owner is dying and needs you to help decide who should inherit his estate. You'll be interviewing some over-the-top characters and helping choose who will become extremely wealthy. Be careful, as there may be more to some than meets the eye. Vegas Tales is available now on your favorite gaming platform. Now it's time for the audience to vote. Please enter the selection of the contestant you think should be going home.
Hey, since you're here, Lester, and you're watching, I'm going to let you choose. Who would you like to send home, and who would you like to win the money? You have a choice between Sam or Lilith. You want Lilith to be sent home or Lilith to win? Now that's the question, because it's asking who should be sent home. So I'll let you think about that for a sec. Lilith is to be sent home or Lilith is to win?
I like Sam's Putin answer.
Lilith sent home? All right. We will go with that. Thank you very much, sir.
The votes are in. The $1 million prize is going to Sam.
For real? Wow. I cannot believe this.
And Sam's a fellow geek. LOL.
Like this. I've never done stuff like this, but this is amazing. I can't wait to start working on my film.
All right, now for every choice, now this game has multiple ways it can be played out. So everybody has their own backstory. After they win the $1 million, here is Sam's. Sam used the prize money to produce his movie. It was panned by many critics and performed poorly at the box office, thanks largely to Sam's unique writing style. Pretty much, yes. It eventually became a sleeper hit, as it got found by audiences who appreciate Sam's odd sense of humor and unusual take on drama. It is now considered a cult classic among fans who know how to appreciate a really good bad movie. So that's it, guys. Thank you for tuning in to this gameplay of Truth, a FMV game that just came out about a month ago. Starring Garrett Wang, best known for Star Trek Voyager Elite Force. I agree, by the way, with Lester's choice of winner. I probably would have gone with Sam, too, because we all kind of share a unique common interest in our nerdisms. So anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. And again, Lester was stating that the acting is really good. Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, the actor who plays Sam is one of the founders of College Humor, the YouTube channel College Humor. So he is actually on that. You can catch him on that. Garrett Wang, of course, is from Star Trek Voyager. Looking into the other actors that starred in this game, they have all done stuff as well, whether it be TV shows or certain movies. So all of them are familiar with acting and have done prior projects. As a matter of fact, the Scottish woman who's in this is the lead voice actor for the movie Brave. as well. She has also been on Supernatural, as has the blonde-haired girl.
Yeah. I've watched him on the channel before. He's naturally funny.
Yeah, no, I've seen him on College Humor too.
She's from Brave. Wow.
Yes. So all of them are big names in the industry, and I thought it was really cool that they all gathered together to make this little FMV game. Granted, it's not very interactive. All we're doing is clicking on choices, and no matter what, we have to click on all those choices eventually. The only real interactivity that I've seen is, at the very end, where you can choose who wins the $1 million, and that can branch out in multiple different directions based on your choices. So if we decided to vote off somebody else earlier on the game, say Lilith, we would have another contestant who we didn't vote off, and they have the chance of winning the money. So there is multiple endings, but once you've gotten everybody to win the $1 million, then there really is no point in playing again. But anyway, that's it for me, guys. I hope you had a wonderful night. Thank you to...
It's like choose your own Netflix comedy special.
There you go. Exactly. It's not as good as the other FMV games I have showcased on my channel, because those ones are a bit more interactive, but it's still fun. It's still a fun little game. So thank you very much, Lester, for tuning in tonight, and thank you to Adventure Game Hotspot. Joshua over at Adventure Game Hotspot for tuning in as well. Great to have you both here, and thank you as well to everybody watching after the fact. Always great to hear from you. Great to have you part of this. If you like what you see, consider liking and subscribing. I cover PS4, PS5, PC, and VR games. If any of that interests you, consider liking and subscribing. Over on my playlist section, if you are interested in more FMV games, simply head over to my playlist section, scroll down a bit, until you find the section labeled FMV Games. Go in there, you'll have everything at your fingertips in there from FMV games. Everything from Phantasmagoria to some of the more modern FMV games are all included in there. You can check them all out and watch playthroughs of them. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you soon at the Gamer's Grotto. Take care once again, have a wonderful night, and we'll see you soon for another Let's Play.
Thanks for streaming and stay awesome.
You too, Lester. Take care, buddy. Have a wonderful night.